Hello and welcome to my video. My name is Wade Daniel Smith, and in this video I'm going to briefly discuss a theory anyway that was explained to me one time or maybe twice, where in Isshinryu Karate, supposedly, if your belt rank is, thus and so, you should be able to beat two people who are two belt ranks below you allied against you. Well, most of the time that is true of a good Isshinryu karate student who is in fact practicing like they're supposed to and working on all their techniques, both in the dojo and on their own time. Most of the time that is true. However, in my case, I could actually beat two second degree black belts who were two ranks above me each, allied against me, because I was testing for black belt, but I was actually fighting well above my belt rank by the time I was second degree brown belt. I was probably fighting at least third or fourth degree black belt equivalent fighting level. Even though I never even got the black belt because I had to quit before I finished testing for black belt. But the only reason I didn't get the black belt is first of all, they added an entire extra Q ranking to Isshinryu the year before I got promoted to third degree brown belt, because it used to only be 2 degrees of brown belt. So they added a third degree of brown belt because they reasoned that some of the other styles were catching up to their discipline level, and they wanted to make sure that they stayed at least a belt rank or two or even 3 belt ranks ahead of every other style that they could match themselves against. And that was under Arsenio Advincula's hierarchy of Isshinryu karate dojos. And then another reason is I'm not very good at kata, so I was kept forgetting the last 10% of Sun Tzu kata, which you have to memorize Sun Tzu kata to get a black belt. And the other reason is there's a minimum 1 year requirement to get a black belt from third degree brown belt. And I was only there for about 6 months after I got a third degree brown belt. So I technically couldn't have passed the black belt test for another 6 months no matter what happened anyway. Even though, once again, I was really fighting at least third or fourth degree black belt skill level. Because by reasoning, if I can beat two second degree black belts, I must be a fourth degree black belt by fighting skill level, according to the way it's supposed to work if your promotions were averaged out. And that's a good system, if you can defeat X number of black belts allied against them, then add up all of their dans, and that's what your dan level probably is in fighting terms. I saw a demonstration that people don't believe. They think it was a hoax. It's a little bit scripted, but it's not a hoax. It's where Steven Seagal, in his mid-30s, whenever right after he had got his 7th degree black belt promotion in Aikido, he did a demonstration where he had 10 total flyweights and bantamweights and lightweights, or featherweights, whatever they were, team up against him and attack him from every direction all at once. And they were supposed to be throwing punches or kicks or just lunging at him, trying to tackle him or anything they could think of to do. And not even one of them ever laid a hand on him. He managed to throw every one of them and keep them all away from him over and over again. Even if they were allowed to get back up and try again, even after he threw them and whatnot, and threw them into one another and threw them over his shoulder and every other kind of throw. And if you search for it, it's probably still on YouTube somewhere. That's not a hoax, even though it is slightly scripted. But they were supposed to be competently attacking, or at least attacking all in, and see if any of them could even land one hit on him. And none of them ever landed even one hit on him. And, smaller fighters should have been faster than him, but he was just in that good of condition and that good at executing the techniques that they didn't stand much chance against him. So yes, you can defeat multiple black belts attacking you, even from multiple different directions, if you're good enough, have the reflexes, and have been working on your techniques. And also, at that time, I was circuit training 20-something hours a week, at least 20 hours a week, 15 hours a week in the dojo, and at least 5 hours a week on my own time outside the dojo. So, I was probably the fittest person in the dojo other than Mark, who was a 245-pound natural heavyweight. Or maybe his wife might have been fitter than him because she was the cardio kickboxing instructor, and you burn 1,000 calories an hour doing advanced cardio kickboxing. But the point is, in theory anyway, you know, if you're 2 belt ranks above somebody, you should be able to beat 2 of them allied against you. And I was, in fact, beating people who were 2 belt ranks above me allied against me. And because of kata requirements and minimum yearly requirements, because they want to make sure you learn all of the bunkai and all of the submissions you're supposed to know to rank up, I didn't get to rank up yet, even though I was already defeating them pretty easily, in fact. And they were not, you know, chicken crap fighters. They were real fighters. The heavyweight was an 8-year veteran of the Marine Corps when they used to teach the close combat system and the early Marine Corps martial arts system to everybody. And he was also an 8-year veteran of the local police department. So he was a police officer and an ex-Marine who saw combat in the first Gulf War. And like before I got to where I could beat him one-on-one, he did hit me one time with a lucky punch in the face, and I got punched in the jaw. This is right before I got good enough to start one-on-twoing them. And because I was still a second-degree brown belt at this time, and it buckled my right leg, and I was waving him off like, "Don't hit me again, I'm done for," because my right leg buckled, and I stayed buckled for about a good 8 seconds. It was a standing 8 count, and if he had hit me again, I would have been done for. If you ever get hit by a 235-pound natural heavyweight who is a second-degree black belt, he really should have been a third-degree black belt. Because he knew all 800 major pressure points on the human body. He knew all of that. He studied anatomy and Jeet Kune Do in addition to Isshinryu. And he could hit some of them very effectively. When you threw a punch or kick at him, he could counterattack you and hit your arm or leg in just the right spot and deaden your arm or leg. Because he was that precise on his blocking. And it took a long time before I learned how to beat him one-on-one, much less one-on-two. His name was Matt Griga. I don't know what his current belt rank is. He's probably at least a 5th or 6th degree black belt by now. Because Mark, I'm pretty sure Mark is a 7th degree black belt by now. And my first sensei that I ever had is now a 9th degree black belt. So he's a grand master, and that's Michael Storms. I'm pretty sure he's centered in Mandeville. Is where his main dojo is now. I think he still owns 2 of them. He downsized a little bit from when he used to own 3 or 4 of them a long time ago. But yeah, he's a grand master now. Michael Storms is, and Mark Myers is a master. And then my other sensei, who was both of their senseis, is also a 9th degree black belt, but he's a multi-style 9th degree black belt. He's one of the only true multi-style 9th degree black belts in existence. Because most people who make that claim are complete fakes. But yeah, I was told that by both Michael Storms and Mark Myers that as a general rule, you should be able to win a handicap match against people who are 2 or more belt ranks below you. So I was doing really good winning a handicap match against people that were ranked higher than me. All right, and I don't know. My black gi was my favorite gi. I loved wearing a black gi because you were only allowed to do that once you made brown belt in his dojo. And it looks really badass compared to white gis. I don't really like white gis. But a black gi with either a brown or black belt looks really badass, and it's probably intimidating to somebody who isn't allowed to wear one yet. So it's fun to wear the thing. But anyway, thank you for watching the video. If anybody watches this, it's a pretty cool topic, I think. The interesting topic of how much better should each belt rank be than the one below it, you know, and what is your fighting level versus your minimum requirements level. My minimum requirements level was first Q, but my fighting level was really at least 3rd or 4th degree black belt when I had to quit. Based on the fact that I could beat 2 second degrees allied against me. You know, my rank must be 3rd or 4th degree in pure fighting rank ability. All right, thank you very much for watching.